got Daisha here coming to you from Tigard, Oregon, and I am super stoked to be here with you guys today. Man, you guys are going to be able to learn some of the .com expert secrets. And if you want to squeeze as much value out of this interview as possible, you're going to want to pay close attention and make sure that you have a pen and paper ready, because nothing is held back inside of these interviews. Here in just a moment, I'm going to hand the floor over to my very special guest today. He has been in business for over 30 years, guys. He's created multiple different programs, helped people from all around the world, and he was generous enough to come on here with you guys today and share the 5 most common mistakes that people make online. So without further ado, you may know him as the MLM Superhero, the Quantum Millionaire. I know him as my millionaire mentor, Darren Little. Darren, welcome to the call, and thank you so much for being here today.
Daisha, what's going on, girl? Super excited. Daisha, thanks a lot for having me here. And, you know, guys, here's the interesting thing about our particular business model is that, you know, people come from corporate America in most cases. I mean, wouldn't you agree with that, Daisha?
Oh, 100%.
When you started, you probably, like, you know, you're looking to bridge out of corporate America and have a freedom lifestyle, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think everyone.
Exactly. Now, the challenge here, Daisha, is that this business model over here in corporate America does not transfer over to this business model in the home-based business industry. And it's a problem because people don't understand the distinction between these two very different business models. When people are in corporate America, if you're working, say, for Canon photocopiers, you typically, if you're in sales, you report to a sales manager, right? Is that what you're used to, Daisha?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right?
You're reporting to the sales manager, and yeah, of course.
Right. Now here's the interesting thing about that is that when you're in corporate America, there's certain things that people do in sales that they don't necessarily want to do, okay? But you have specific activities that you're expected to do, and you have to report back to the sales manager. And the first thing that they tell you to do is to make cold calls. Make cold calls, right? They tell you to go to events and network and get around people that are successful. But your goal when you're in the office, sitting in your little cubicle, is to do cold calls to try to open up a gateway to book an appointment to see if you can get in there so you can pitch whatever it is that you're selling. If you're with Canon photocopiers, you'd be pitching people on Canon photocopiers. And then they typically want you to deal with all of the objections so that you can get a close right on the spot and make a sale, okay? Our business model's not like that. It doesn't work like that. Our business model is a lot more casual. It takes a longer process to be able to bring somebody into a business or to recruit them or to sell the products. And it typically takes between 5 and 12 connections or exposures to enroll somebody into a business, okay? And that's probably the biggest thing to get over. It's not going to just be pitching people one-off. It's kind of like rubbing on suntan lotion, and it's a lot more casual. It's a lot more easy to, you know, ease somebody into the process. Now, the interesting thing about that in our model is that on the very first connection or exposure, only 2% of people ever join a business, okay? 2%. On the second connection or exposure, it only goes up to 3%. On the third connection, it jumps to 5. On the fourth connection, it jumps to 10. But here's the money, Daisha, here's where the money is. On number 5 to 12, it jumps to 80. 80%. 80%, Daisha. Can you believe this? 80% of the people from number 5 to 12 will either buy your products or join your business. So there's a different type of way to do our business model. Our business model is actually a teaching and training business model. It's not a pitch business model. And it's kind of like people over here, they've got like a you know, I don't know what you call a round peg, and they're trying to jam it into a square hole. It will never go in. It will never, ever go in. You can jam it and hammer it and hammer it. And this is the reason why in our particular industry, people that are in MLM, this is why people get so turned off by MLMers, okay? Because they get all hyped up about whatever it is that they're marketing, and they literally vomit all over top of people, okay? Whether it's their friends, their family, complete total strangers, right? You look like a pretty sharp individual. Yeah, keep your income options open, right? So, you know, it's all about the people. Our industry is about the people. It has nothing to do with your products, your company, your comp plan, your management team, your track record, the patents, the trademarks. It has nothing to do with that. The products have to work, right? They got to be competitively priced, and the compensation plan has to be fair. But once you know that those things are true, move those things away, and it's all about your prospect. So that's the big distinction I think that people need to learn.
That is, I hope you guys took notes on that and really, really heard it, guys. So it's not about pitching and selling, right? It's about making that connection, right? Once you know you have a good product, right? Once you know that you're going to be delivering value, you're going to be delivering good things to people, then it's not about you anymore, right? It's about focusing on the customers, about focusing on the prospects, the people, right? So that's number one, right? So what would you say number two is then, Darren? So the 5 most common mistakes here.
Well, the next thing really is that people don't understand this difference. Like, and they don't have a mentor or somebody to teach and train them to show them exactly what to do. Now, I can tell you that if I look back when I first got started in my early 20s, I had to be completely retrained, guys. Okay. I'm talking about a brand new business model. So when I started, I came from features and benefits, and I was really good at that. I could do that. Like, I could go out and pretty much sell anything, right? I could sell ice cubes to Eskimos. And my millionaire mentor said to me, he said, Darren, you're going to have to go through a paradigm shift, and you're going to have to start to look at things differently, because products are going to get sold, but they get sold in a completely different way, a completely different way. He said, if you ever want to make 7 figures, Darren, the first thing is I don't want you talking about our company. And the company had patents on their products. They had these oil and gas additives. And I thought, that's interesting. So maybe I can't talk about the company because of the fact that they've got these patents, right? Okay, well, what else, Harvey? What else? He said, Darren, if you ever want to make 7 figures, I don't want you talking about our products. Now, coming from features and benefits, now keep in mind, when I started in my 20s, I spent $4,000 to be able to get started in my business. Now, if you take into account inflation and everything else, that's probably about $15,000 today. I didn't have the money, but what I did have was a dream. And I knew that I didn't know if there was going to be ever another millionaire mentor that I was going to meet. And they weren't, falling from the sky, right? They weren't like the dime a dozen type thing. And I didn't have the money. I didn't have the money to be able to get into mentorship. I had maybe about $1,200 in the bank. So I had to be resourceful. I had to be able to realize that if I didn't, trust the process and go get the money and step into my power and really step into my vision and my dream, I may never make it. So he said to me, Darren, if you cannot come up with $4,000 in the next 3 days, you'll never make it in our industry anyway. Our industry is about personal power, right? Personal power. And I only work with winners. And he turned around, he walked down the office or the hallway, and he shut his office door. So I thought, okay, how the heck could anybody sell products without ever talking about the company that manufactures them, and without ever talking about the products themselves. Like it didn't even compute in my mind. And I actually thought in my mind, like my stomach dropped to my knees, and I thought like, oh my God, I just spent $4,000 and it's a scam. It's a scam. I've been scammed. I've been scammed for $4,000. So, but what he started to teach me was really about understanding about the magnetic pull that happens when you actually talk about the other person. And the more that you ask them questions, the more that you find out about them, they're actually magnetically pulled to want to do business with you. And shockingly, to my shocking surprise, the very, very first month in business as an entrepreneur, I did $40,000 in sales and became car qualified with that particular company at that time. And I would never have been able to do that if it wasn't for having a mentor, okay? Somebody that can explain this in detail so that you really get it. Because quite frankly, if you're listening to this broadcast right now and thinking, geez, like, how would I ever be able to sell my weight loss products without talking about the company or the products themselves, right? Because I was in the exact same place. Getting a mentor is like taking off the veil so that you can really step into your power as a leader and start making money.
Man, that makes so much sense. Being able to like focus on the people and finding a mentor to show you step by step. So I have a question then. So, because I've seen it to where people do have a mentor and they do have a product that could do really well, but they still kind of struggle on that. So what do you feel like the third reason is then why people struggle online?
Well, the big thing about it is that, just in regards to that particular topic, is that when it comes to social media, most people plaster their companies and products all over their wall, right? And what they don't realize that they're doing is they're pushing all the qualified buyers away from them, because the real true people that you want in our particular industry are people that are already sold on the business model, okay? Not your friends and family, okay? You need people that are already in the business model. They're already qualified. So there's no convincing that needs to happen because they're already sold on the business model. So in the conventional, traditional form of, the MLM market, what they tell you to do is to make a list of your top 200 or your friends and family. And those are not qualified buyers. They're not qualified buyers. So most people don't understand what to do to generate leads, right? Qualified buyers, people that are already sold on the business model. So in other words, who would I rather have in my business? Would I rather have somebody that has a list of qualified buyers that's already sold on the network marketing business model? Or would I rather have my aunt or my cousin or my uncle, right? I'd rather have the person that's already sold on the business model. So people don't understand what to do to be able to find the people that are already in our industry. And for most people, okay, so if, in other words, it's kind of like birds of a feather flock together. So if you're in a position where you're in corporate America, and let's say that you work in a call center or you're in customer support or something like that, and you make like $3,000 a month, there's a high probability that all the people that are in your core circle that you hang out with, they make about the same amount of money that you do, but they're 9-to-5ers. They haven't reached their breaking point where they've now looked at other options where they're in our industry, and they realize that residual income is better than linear income. And to try to convince those people that you have a better way, it doesn't work. You just get right? So, and most people just get rejected. So the people get started in our industry, and the only thing, first of all, they're in the corporate model, and all they're told to do is make a list of their friends and family. So they don't know anything else. It's not like it's their fault, but they don't have the mentor to show them exactly what to do step by step. So you've got every business, guys, every single business, doesn't matter what type of entrepreneurial business that you have, there's two things that you need. Okay, two things. You need a steady stream of quality leads, qualified buyers that are showing up, okay? And you need a steady stream of cash flow, okay? Two things to have a successful business: steady stream of leads, steady stream of cash flow. Now, if you take away the leads and you take away the cash flow, guess what happens? You go bankrupt. Your business goes under, right? So that's a big, big challenge. If you don't know how to generate quality leads, you don't know how to generate the right type of buyers, you got a problem.
Man, guys. So you were saying, so first off, it's not about the people. It's not about pitching and selling. You need to be focused on the people themselves. And then once you are focused on the people, then it's finding a mentor, guys. Find a mentor. Find someone that's actually going to show you what you need to do rather than trying to find your own way of doing it. And the third thing is to start learning how to generate leads. So once people know how to generate leads, what do you feel is the next step in that then?
Well, I always tell people that, before you go out and spend all the money on your credit cards, right? Most people, what they do is they just start spending money on, Facebook ads, solo ads, but they're going directly to their business. Okay. Like weight loss products, lose 10 pounds in 7 days, right? So they're going directly with their product and their company on the front end, right? What you got to really understand to do, like if somebody was to say start a business, I would show them the concepts and get them to master being able to use free strategies to start to learn all the concepts before they bridge over into paid marketing. So if you can master the skills on the free side, now you know what to do with the leads when they come in. So in other words, if you're just starting and you're still stuck in the corporate America business model, if you go out and spend a lot of money and if I was to even give you 20,000 leads, what are you going to do with the leads? What are you going to do with the leads? Because in the event that you're on the convincing side, right, you're gonna spin your wheels, and that's what most people do. So they don't understand the strategy about how to take people over here from a lead to over here as either a customer, right, or an affiliate. So if you can't convert your leads over to sales, you might as well just pile the money up and pour gasoline all over it and light it with a match, because truth be known, if you filmed that and made a YouTube video, you'd probably make more money off the money burning on a YouTube video than you are going to go out and spend all that money on traffic. It's a waste of money. It's a complete total waste of money if you don't understand the distinction between the two business models and then what to do to get people from here to people over here, because you got to get cash flow. It's pointless just to have a whole bunch of leads. You got to have cash flow for the business to survive. So if you can't convert leads over to product buyers, if you can't convert leads over to new affiliates, you're wasting your money.
That makes so much sense. So, I mean, people end up usually getting a mentor. They get into a business, they learn how to generate leads and how to convert leads and everything, but it still seems like people aren't able to do it. Like, it seems like it's such a simple business model, maybe not easy, but simple. So why do you feel like people aren't doing it more then?
Well, the biggest challenge, and this is what my millionaire mentor said to me, he said, Darren, if you ever really want to go 7 figures and higher, you're going to have to surrender your pride. Okay. You're going to have to surrender your ego. And that was pretty tough. I'm going to be quite frank. Okay. Because I had to do that first to go get the money. Okay. Because I only had about $1,200 and I needed $4,000. So I had to be able to, go to the hardest thing to do, quite frankly, when you're in your 20s is let go of your ego and your pride and go to your parents and then sell them on your vision and your dream, right? Versus coming in as the victim, the powerless one. asking, oh, right? That's what most people do, right? And nobody will invest in a victim, guys. Okay, nobody will invest in a victim. So, surrendering the pride and the ego was something that I had to do, especially if I was going to raise the money in 3 days. He only gave me 3 days to be able to do it. So, but it has to do with really kind of facing the music, so to speak. So, in other words, you may be with a weight loss company or a skincare company, nutraceuticals, energy drinks, legal, credit repair, digital products, whatever. But the truth is, most people won't accept the truth. 97% of all the people in the industry are not making money. In fact, they fail. Okay. And there's only 0.1% that make more than $400 a month or more. So the hardest thing to do, okay, you have to surrender your pride and your ego to, first of all, admit that you have a problem in the first place. Nobody can help you unless you're prepared to do that first. You have to admit that you're having challenges. You have to admit that you're having problems. You have to admit that whatever it is that you're trying, it's not working, right? It's not working. And that's probably the biggest blocker by far that people run into, is that they just don't want to admit that it's not working. So they pretend. So it's like if I say, Tom, so, how's your business going? It's going great. It's going great. Right. Meanwhile, he hasn't recruited anybody for a year. He can hardly even afford his auto ship. He's, his car's going into repo. His home's going into foreclosure. His credit cards are being maxed out, but his business is going great. Right. How's it going great? Right. How is your business going great? If you're not making money, your business is a liability. And every month that you have to pay the auto ship over and over and over and over, you're going further and further and further and further down the rabbit hole. And until you can surrender your pride and surrender your ego and realize that you have a problem, you have a problem. And if you're not prepared to admit that, there's nobody that will ever be able to help you to get to your personal breakthrough. That's really what it comes down to. The pride and the ego is truly what keeps people stuck, and it's what keeps people broke. Okay. And thankfully, when I started in this industry, I was just a young little whippersnapper. I was just like, okay, whatever you tell me to do, Harvey, I will do it. Just tell me the process. Tell me what to do. Now, the interesting thing is that the first time that this happened for me, to be honest, I was in shock. I was in complete shock because we didn't have the internet. All we had was, these networking functions that you could go to, like Business After Business or Vancouver Board of Trade, Chamber of Commerce, trade shows, conventions, places where there was high quality people. Okay. And he taught me how to kind of scan the room to be able to identify the most successful people in the room. Just a quick glance. Oh, that person. Right. So he taught me how to scan the room to look for the highest quality of successful people. Those are the most influential people. Okay. Now, what I found was that through understanding more about mirroring and modeling, that I could pull the people to me versus going over to them. And he said, Darren, every time that the conversation comes to you about your business, I want you to flip it back over to them. So don't talk about business. Okay. I want you to talk about their family, their what they love to do for fun, their hobbies, their children, their spouse, their nationality. Find out more about the person. Find out, where they came from. Did they grow up here? Did they grow up someplace else? Find out more about the person and really dive deep, right, to get to a connection. And what I found is that, conversation might have been 10 minutes or 15 minutes. By the end of the conversation, the person would look at me in the eyes and they'd say, you know what, Darren? I have no idea what you do. but I want to do business with you. And it blew my mind. I tell you, the first time that it happened for me, I was shocked, because coming from features and benefits, I didn't even think that this could happen. I didn't even think it was possible that the magnetic pull would have them saying, I want to do business with you, before they even knew what I did, before they even knew anything about my products, before they knew anything about the company or the comp plan or the management team or the track record or anything, because I didn't talk about anything. It was all behind door number one. But there was a magnetic pull, and that's what actually allowed me to do $40,000 in sales the first month. But if I hadn't have been coachable, if I said, you know what, Harvey, thanks a lot for the tips there, brother, but I got a better way. You better watch me go. You better watch me go. Watch this space, right? And those people that say that, right, I hear that often. I'm just going to tell you straight up. I hear that often from people. Darren, I got this new strategy. You better watch me go. You better watch me go, right? And those are the broke people. And truth be known, in 3 decades, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for the, watch this space, for the person to prove the model of whatever it is they're going to do. I've never seen it yet. Maybe someday it will. Well, someday it will happen, but 30 years it hasn't happened yet. So, it really has to do with shifting your mindset and trusting that there's another way that exists that actually gets results. And it has nothing to do with what you think you're selling. In fact, sometimes what I do is, I'll take a group of people and they can watch the process live. And when they watch a conversation or they hear a conversation, it's kind of like they can't believe that the entire conversation, I have never mentioned any company's products, comp plans, management team, track record, nothing. And 10 minutes later, they see somebody pull out their credit card to want to get started. And the person doesn't even know what they're marketing yet. They can't even believe that could happen, but they watch it happen. And when you see it happen, or it happens for you the very first time, that's when you just go, and your mind just goes, wow, this is unbelievable. And it's that first shift in mindset that shifts the polarity. It really has to do with understanding the polarity of a magnet. If you take magnets and they're at the right polarity, they go and they stick together. But if you flip the magnets around, you can push those magnets as hard as you want. They'll just be going like, they'll never stick together. And that's the secret. You have to understand about polarity to ever have that magnetic pull.
Man, that makes so much sense. Holy crap. Thank you so much, Darren. So I know that you already dropped like a massive amount of value to the people here today, but is there any other big piece of advice that you would like to give everyone before we hop off here?
If you ever want to get to the top, if you ever want to, really have freedom, you have to be on a path of personal development. Personal development is our industry. People think that it's about selling products, but it's about raising your vibrational resonance. It's about stepping into your power, right? Every time I get on these broadcasts and I start talking about, vibrational resonance and manifestation, that right away, all the way down my whole body is these goosebumps that start. That's the success vibration. And the more that you study personal development, the more that you realize that it's you that's creating your reality. We manifest the reality through our thoughts, our words, and our emotions. And once you really get the concept, you'll want to dive deeper and deeper and deeper to really understand personal power, how it works, and how do we create the reality? How do we manifest whatever it is that we want? So personal development is like the center post in our industry. And the business model is really about leadership versus pitching. Leadership will bring people together, and you'll be able to lead the people and explain how the business model works. Pitching, even if you're a master pitcher, okay? So in other words, I've had people that say, oh, Darren, I'm a top realtor. I got this. I got this business, right? But then they never make it. And the ones that are really good at pitching and closing, they have zero team duplication, like zero. So even if they're in a unilevel and they put 1,000 people frontline, not a single person duplicates. They have nobody on the team, so they have one level. So all they've done is they've pitched, they've got a commission, but they don't have any leverage because none of those people can do what they did. So they don't have the whole concept of exponentially growing out a team because they're coming from a different business model that doesn't fit into our business model. And truth be known, you have to be a certain type of person to be able to even do that, okay? Most people just get massive rejection. And after a certain while, they just go, you know what, this just isn't for me. This just isn't for me, right? Because they don't understand that it's not about pitching. The business model is not a pitching business model. It's a leadership business model. And the only way that you can truly become a leader is to step into your power and be on the path of personal development. And that requires mentorship, following behind somebody. It's kind of like if I said to you, you know what, I'll give you $10 million if you can get from this side of the football field to the other side. And you go, okay, no problem. Okay, but there's one caveat. There's mines planted all the way through the entire football field. Now you're probably going to go, well, okay, I'm not going to do it because it's going to be your life or 10 million, right? It's like a gamble. But in the event that I say, okay, I'm going to give you $10 million to go across that football field, and all you have to do is follow directly behind the minesweeper. Oh, no, don't step there. And then minesweeper, don't step there. That's the difference. That's mentorship. So in the event that you're following directly behind somebody that's already have a proven path, it makes it much easier for people to get to success. And that's really why the students, the success stories of the students, like last night when I was interviewing one of my students, his very first month as a brand new newbie, he made $23,000. He'd never marketed a day in his life before. What was different? How could there be so many other people that get into our industry and 97 out of 100 fail, and the tiny little bit that make $400 a month or more, and here's a brand new person, right? He was working at the bread factory making minimum wage, and his very first month, he made $23,000. It's like they're not even relatable. So you have all these people over here, and a brand new newbie comes along and goes, poof, and makes more money in a month than some people make in an entire year. What was different? Mentorship.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing. Wow. Thank you so much, Darren, for sharing all of this value today. Like, holy crap. I didn't expect that much value. You just dropped it just all in front of everyone. So thank you so much for that today, guys. Oh my gosh. So hopefully you guys are taking notes and learning the 5 most common mistakes that people make online. Guys, I struggled for 4.5 years straight. I made these same mistakes. And it wasn't until I found a mentor, I decided to take action, get plugged in, and just be coachable, right? Just be coachable. That's the biggest thing. All you need to do is learn how to generate leads, how to convert those leads, and don't make it about you. Make it about the people, right? So if you guys would like to learn more from the MLM superhero himself, learn the 1K per day formula, just like all of us around the world are doing, click the link or button below in the description. Get started today, get plugged in, and just be coachable. Let's do this together. I will see you guys in the next video, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much, Darren. Have a good day.
Thanks, Dacia.
Bye now, guys.